Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and I come to you on Multitasking Monday. So it's a little bit different a show. I'm just going to catch you up real quick to what's going on this week, and then jump right in. So, yeah, Multitasking Monday is a new thing I just invented because if you remember when we were doing the Nineveh 90, Fiat 90, and Exodus 90, well, Fiat 90, one of the things it suggested fasting from was multitasking because science has found that multitasking really isn't good for us most of the time. We end up doing a whole bunch of things very badly instead of a whole bunch of things very well. But there are some things that lend themselves to it more than others. So on Mondays, I like to do laundry. I'm from Amish country. It's a little Amish of me. But, laundry takes a certain amount of time to do, so you're free in between those times. And my family, a snack that we found that's fairly healthy for us is Chex Mix. So I have Chex Mix going in the crock pot that needs stirred every 20 minutes. So that's roughly the amount of time it takes for the laundry. So I, take laundry out, fold it, washer to dryer, goes in the washer. I run upstairs, I stir the Chex Mix, and then I'm free for about 15 minutes. And so I've been doing a couple little projects, like putting dishes away only takes 5 minutes, stuff like that. That is very Monday, things that just get, kind of put off on the weekend. So doing little catch-up things on Monday, it really works. It doesn't work every day of the week because I end up scattered, disoriented. So Multitask Monday is really working for me, for now at least. And then we also we're getting ready for our big, very Franciscan first Saturday of May. I am so excited to bring this to you. I have, if you remember, our friends Bridget and Diane, they've contributed to it. Also, Sydney, Bridget's sister, has jumped into the fray. And I have my friends Ray and Dawn, who are in secular Franciscans with me. They'll be leading the rosary. So I'm putting the video files together. I have a couple more, hopefully, to gather from people. I'm hoping everything goes well and we get those files into you. So that's where a majority of my focus is right now. I'm trying to learn, like you do, tantum ergo for the ukulele for you. It's not going to be perfect, but I don't think I'm going to be able to find an organist to play it in time. And so I thought it was very Franciscan to play it on the ukulele because sometimes we have to do what we can, especially in this time. So I'm excited to bring that to you this weekend. I'm just so excited for this first Saturday, and it's going to be May, the month of Mary, and it's the perfect time to start this. If you've never done a first Saturday, it's going to be a great introduction. I've always said I can't really do it for you. Well, friends are making it possible, and I am so thankful. So I'm just jazzed. What am I doing with my extra 10 minutes of an hour? I thought I would spare my family because I think this is like a 2-hour movie. So, Clare and Francis, I have been told, is the best movie to date on St. Francis and St. Clare. So I'm kind of excited to watch it. I got it this summer, I believe, when we were up at the National Shrine of Divine Mercy in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. They have an amazing bookstore. They probably have, I know they have. You can go to Shop Mercy. I can't remember shopmercy.org or shopmercy.com, but you can go and shop their catalog right now. They've got tons of stuff there that they publish as well as some other things. This is actually from Ignatius Press again. So I'm going to do a DVD walk like you do. When I opened the box, the first thing that caught my eye is they actually have a mini catalog. If you're familiar with them, they send you a catalog all the time. But it's still going. Their best love films. And I thought that was kind of cool. So they have the best love films, best-selling films, and this would be great. I know regularly homeschooling moms are even kind of overwhelmed in this crisis. So this list of movies could be something great to add to your curriculum. If you get together with other moms, you could each buy one and swap them because you could always wipe down, right? Only touch the disc on the edge, and you could wipe down the covers in between, leave them at drop spots or in people's at people's doors and swap them and stuff. So that could be a great idea for some people. And I may be looking at some of these in the future. So give me a shout out if you'd like me to review any other movies from Ignatius. I'm doing this little bit before I watch the movie, and then I'll jump back on after I watch the movie, because it has a booklet inside. Oh, the geek in me was so loving that. So Clare and Francis, it starts out, there's about the film section, and then about St. Francis and Clare, again with pictures from the movie. St. Clare at a glance and St. Francis at a glance. I thought these were awesome. So they're giving us timelines. Even as a Franciscan, I sometimes get confused about that. So I think that's really awesome. And it ends up, it's so funny because it starts, 1194 for Clare, and it ends in 1958. And St. Francis starts in 1181/2 and ends in 1228. So St. Clare's has more more dates. It's more recent. And then it has an interview with Father Andrew Apostoli, local servant of the Franciscan Friars of the Renewal and vice postular for the cause of the Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen on. And so he's talking about the saints. And I just think that's really interesting. So you're outright getting a Franciscan take on everything. And even the last section, what relevance do Saints Francis and Clare have for modern Christians today, which is so important? Like, why do we even care? Why are we watching this movie? They had so many opportunities open to them. They both had wealth and social status. They could have had the best the world had to give them, that they were willing to become poor for Christ's sake because they realized how poor Christ became for their sake. And this is a very timely message, right? This is a great time to get this message out to people because we're in a time where we're kind of all poor. We're not really not like the rest of the world, right? But we're in an opportunity right now to embrace this lifestyle where we don't go out and get everything we want every second that we want it. We can kind of break some consumerist habits right now. So this is a great time to look at this. And it is a challenge to young people today with so much wealth at their disposal. Francis and Clare, that this is not where true happiness is to be found. And if you know, one of the biggest problems with millennials and Zs is loneliness. So this is our opportunity to let them know where true happiness can be found. If you strive on to hold on to all the things of the world, you will lose it. I think of St. Francis as what the rich young man in the gospel would have been if he hadn't walked away. So Francis becomes known as the most joyful of the saints. I think that's a message for our time. One that can find real friendship without it becoming a possessive thing, the way that the world says we should possess and use people. It is possible to love in a different way. And then the next question is, are all the stories about St. Francis true? Because that's a question kids are going to have when they're done watching the movie. And I will tell you, there are discussion questions at the end. And then the very last page is learn more about Clare and Francis. And they have for children, recommended books for children, recommended books for adults, as well as several other films. And then, of course, a scene selection guide in the back. So I'm very excited. This sounds very well done. I love that there's discussion questions and things for all different age groups. So this could be a learning opportunity for the whole family. Even though my family is kind of choosing to put it off and off. It's just such a long movie. They haven't been willing to sit and do it, and I am too impatient to wait, so I'm going to jump in and then we'll probably watch it later with me. But I will be back with my review of the film as soon as Multitask Monday ends and I get through this bit. God bless. Hi friends, I'm back. I finished watching the movie. Okay, so Clare and Francis, what did I think? How is it? What is it? One of the things it is a great, inspiring movie. It is shot beautifully. The costumes are amazing. They did an excellent job just on all of that. On the casting, on the clothing is just the period clothing is amazing. Francis is amazing. They really moved the story along. You get the real feel that Francis was an older brother or perhaps a father figure for Clare. That really comes through in this movie. Some movies portray them as romantic interests, and this one shows it more of brotherly or fatherly advice. And that's wonderful. And it really shows a lot of great attributes and pieces of the story from Francis and Clare. Now, what it is a fictional movie. It is absolutely a fictional movie. The director who wrote it even says it. It is based off of 2 books. What it is not is a documentary. It is not a documentary. It is not a docudrama. So this little book that's inside the video is invaluable. I found myself at times going back and again to this timeline going, no, Claire was doing this at that time and Francis was doing that. They weren't together then. It is their stories woven together in a way that they were not actually probably woven together in real life. There's some things in their stories that we don't know. People at the time writing them down probably didn't realize that they would be relevant. Could Claire have run into Francis when she was a little girl? They lived in the same town. They could have run into each other several times. Sure, did it happen exactly as it says in here? Maybe not. But it does remind you that they probably did meet before. So it's fictionalized, but it doesn't mean it's necessarily in a bad way. And a lot of it was woven together and moved along just for the pace of the story. So things did not happen exactly that. There's some gruesome things that were taken out, like, Francis's eye treatment, not in there. How he got the stigmata, it's not really in there, and how it was seen in the end, yeah, it's not really there. So Claire and Francis, it does tell you, there's kind of the little booklet starts out with, honestly, it's a little synopsis of the movie. So if you're not 100% about your kids watching it, you can read it and know what's there. About Saints Francis and Clare. So this is a little bit more biography. On the next section, let's see, the next one then is that timeline I showed you already. And I do love that timeline. It's very helpful. And then an interview, which is a little Q&A with a friar. And so that's helpful as well. And I mean, he does ask, how did Clare and Francis actually first meet, kind of thing. And he goes through some of these. So it lets you know that, yeah, it's a story to get you started. And that's part of why there's discussion questions and some recommended reading at the end. And the recommended reading is for different age levels. So it's for children, for adults, and then it's other films that they would like you to see. And those, of course, are all available from Ignatius Press, who's promoting this version of the, I'd say movie, but it's a miniseries. It is done as a miniseries. If you watch it like in 2 or 3 parts, it's like a 3-hour movie. You're probably going to do better to portion it off for yourself. Maybe look at the scene index that's on the back and pick which ones that you want to watch and break it up over a series of time. Again, if you're using the discussion questions or making it a part of a bigger unit study for your kids or your family, that's going to make more sense too. So that's it. It's very well done. It's very artfully done. It's craft-wise, they really do weave the stories together. The really knowing all that is fine. If you know all that going in, I would be afraid that some people would think, oh, this is exactly how it happened. And no, even you could even have that debate about, did Francis go to meet the Sultan primarily to evangelize or primarily in peacemaking? And that is one of the aspects that does bother me about the book. They don't really show the prayer life of Francis and Clare. That was so central to their lives. And the friars did so much preaching. I think you see maybe 2 tiny scenes of preaching in the whole thing. And the Clares seem to be just doing needlework in a cold, dank building. And even the Christmas scene with Clare, I've never heard that before. That sounds more like something that happened to St. Anthony. So I found that a little unusual, but could it have happened? Sure, could have happened. And yeah, I would have liked to see their prayer life more. So my understanding, and again, there are many different reports and views of what happened with St. Francis. So we have the 2 stories from Thomas and Celano that don't exactly line up. Bonaventure's doesn't exactly line up with those. And then you have the one by Anonymous of Perugia. That doesn't really completely line up. Everybody had their own motives. And there were probably lots of little stories that got left by the wayside. Even in the Acts of the Apostles, I believe it says, and Jesus did many other things that aren't recorded here. So where's the truth? We're never going to know it 100%. But I do have to think that going with the Crusaders, I don't think Francis and Illuminato, with nothing on them, went the whole way to the Crusades. They probably went with a company of the army there, right? And I have to think that they would have met the spiritual needs of the men while they were there. I would have to think that that happened. And that's not shown in the movie at all. That's done in a completely different way. And it shows Francis saying, I just want to talk to you about Jesus. That's not the way I understood it either, but that they did think maybe these are holy men. And it was done very respectfully. It was done very well. I think both sides of that coin are going to appreciate how it was handled. It kind of came out he was seeking peace through evangelization. And I think we can all agree that they were both elements, of course, that Francis would have wanted. I think he put the soul of the Sultan first, and that's what the Sultan respected in him most. Yeah, so I would give this a pretty good review. Again, with the caveat that you know that it is a work of fiction, and you go ahead and study Francis and Clare more. But do you get a feel for their spirituality? You get a feel for it. Not quite enough because it doesn't show their prayer lives. Like I said, it looks like the Clares are just in an old church doing needlework. I didn't appreciate that, but the scene of Clare at Christmas did really bring more of their spirituality out. Yeah, so a lovely movie. Know that it's a starting point, perhaps your Franciscan studies or journey, or just if you just want to curl up, with a little cozy reading kind of thing, curl up on a cold winter's day and watch something beautiful about Francis and Clare. I would recommend the movie Clare and Francis. Yes, great discussion point. You could have so many great conversations after watching this. So I think it's very well done, and yeah, I liked it. If you have a movie or a book about Francis and Clare or any saint that you'd like to talk about or to have me review, just put it down in the comments below and we'll see what we can do. God bless, friends. Bye.